Ladies and gentlemen, it is that time of the week once again, where I, Carl Carafel, am joined by Chris Best and OMD for, well, myself, the longest running weekly episodic podcast program that I have been a part of. It is always a pleasure when I can get on screen with my friends, with my brothers, to be able to talk some professional wrestling. Mr. Chris Best, how are things going?
Oh, it's been a very busy day for me around the household today. I woke up with absolutely no energy, but
Mm.
I'm like, I still got to get things done. And then just throughout that day, that energy started to build and build.
Uh,
I went out, went downtown, got some food from the food bank, came back and cleaned about half my kitchen, starting with the most disgusting job, the fridge.
the fridge is always the worst because you just let things sit there for a while,
hmm
unsure of how long it has been sitting there.
Everything in my fridge because I wasn't sure of anything except for the things I recently bought at the grocery store. So I threw everything out.
Oh, goodness. We have got Bobby Batito, Bobby Stats, as we like to call him, coming in to the chat here with us. A consummate stable of a person here with us each and every week, no matter what we do here on Turnbuckle Studios or with the Turnbuckle affiliation program. We still wait for OMD, who always seems to have some technical issues. As we wait, Bobby is saying that someone in Canada at Northern Crown in Canada could be getting WWE ID'd this Sunday.
Yeah, and
Very interesting.
there were a ton of names that got ID'd over the weekend.
100% there was. I think that we're not gonna go too deep into any of those just yet. I think we'll kind of wait a couple of weeks because it seems to be frequently that they have been going through and kind of choosing a at least one other person every week.
hmm
And if we can get ourselves a little bit of a roster per se of WWE ID'd people,
I've
then
been
we can talk a little bit more about it, I think.
I said it last week and I'm just gonna say it again, but Hollywood Haley J, please ID her. Please do it.
I agree. I agree. There's a few people that I would love to see as part of that program. A good friend of mine, close to me, Vinny Da Vinci. He will be going back to Montreal this weekend for the Jacques Rougeau Academy, Lutte Academy, the Wrestling Academy. And good for him. I'm very, very happy. We talked about that last week or the week before. We talked about that already. And there's just, Dream Girl Ellie. She's another one of the people that I would love to be able to see in there as well. John Loco, um, friends of mine, would love to be able to see that. And since we have lost OMD just momentarily, I think maybe now is the time that we will start. So, ladies and gentlemen, it definitely is showtime here for us as OMD attempts to make his way back in. We'll give him that moment to do so, and we'll have to figure out what's going on with him and what the issues are there. But
I,
Mr. Chris Best, I know that you've gone through and delved into a bunch of different topics for us this week.
yeah,
What's one of the first things you got for us?
I kind of ran the gambit with topics today, didn't I?
You did.
I'm trying to look for the one topic that really caught my mind today because it's something that's a little bit close to me because I know this guy. I follow him on Twitter, watch him on YouTube all the time, and I'm talking about Ross Twiddle on from Cultaholic Wrestling.
Mm,
This is a
right.
bit of a human interest story. Um, I've been following this guy since his days with What Culture as well, when he was known as King Ross over there. But he has broken the Guinness World Record for most theme songs named in under 1 minute.
Really?
He got
and it's
20.
a Guinness World Record for this.
Yeah.
Interesting.
He got 20 of them, and I watched the video. It's actually up on the Cultaholic channel.
Okay.
And holy Christ, he beat me, of all people. He beat me.
20 in under a minute, you said.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's insane, man.
That is 1 every 3 seconds.
Yeah.
Hey,
And
somebody
he
mathed today.
I did. Don't ask me how.
But he's one of my trusted sources that I go to for some of my YouTube wrestling news. He's very entertaining with his wrestling reviews on things as well, because he I forget the name of the show he does on Cultaholic, but it's entertaining nonetheless.
Right.
But he found another. The reason why he decided to achieve it is because he found another guy who had done it, and I think the other guy only got like 15 in 1 minute.
Okay.
So, it was 19. It was 19 in 1 minute, and he's like, you know what? I'm going to do one better, and he went for the 20.
And you know what? That's really impressive, especially like OMD just said. Like that's like 3 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
You hear 2 seconds, 2 seconds of theme song, and then that last second is you say who it is.
Yeah, you have the rule. The rule is too. You have to name the theme and the wrestler it belongs to.
Oh,
Really?
Yeah. And there were some caveats, like for instance, Kurt Angle's theme. You could either name Kurt Angle or the Patriot, because the Patriot also used the theme.
right. Interesting. I think the only other person that I might know besides you, Mr. Best, that could possibly do something like that might be Bobby Stats, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's tough. I tried it. It's tough.
Oh, I'm sure.
But no, congratulations.
I struggle with 10 seconds.
Yeah.
So
Right.
I'm also the type too that I can name a song within like one beat for the most part.
right. Wow. OMD, you think you could do anything like that?
I highly doubt it. I could probably maybe do 10 in a minute if I'm lucky. But probably closer to 2 minutes.
But yeah, congratulations to Ross on that though. It's tough to do.
Yes.
Oh yeah, it definitely would be. Definitely would be tough to do. Congratulations, Ross. That's fantastic.
Oh, Bob, I'd say I'm not sure, but he will try.
Maybe we'll have to look into seeing if there's any way that we can try to make that happen. That might just be a Twitch exclusive only, because of copyrights with YouTube. We may get some flaggage issues for that. It's possible.
Yes.
Yeah.
Something that I pulled up that I don't know if you had or not, because I don't have our messenger open right now to see, but we talked a little bit about kind of the ID program with the WWE. Something that kind of caught my interest. Somebody had recently appeared on the Busted Open radio show that happens on Sirius XM and opened up about Nick Khan being at one of this person's events. He says, "That's my good friend Nick. Nick Khan is cool. He was a fan, or he was a guest of Josh Barnett's." So we're talking Bloodsport 10 that happened.
Yeah.
Nick was there. He was a guest of Josh Barnett's, and he came to check out Bloodsport, and so many others did. He wasn't the only high-profile individual in attendance at that event. I got to talk to him for a couple minutes, and he was very complimentary and very gracious, and he brought his son with him. They stayed and they watched the event, and they seemed to be into it, which, given the weekend, at that point back then, it was WrestleMania weekend. It was impressive that he was able to cut a couple hours out to come to the event. Person we're talking about is Brett Lauderdale. Now, Brett says that he's not a corporate guy and he doesn't have any business with Nick Khan, but the experience was positive. So, who wants to give me a little bit of info on who Brett Lauderdale is?
I'm actually drawing a blank on who he is.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but Brett Lauderdale and MLW are a thing, are they not?
I believe
And
so.
possibly GCW?
I'm going to have to give me 2 seconds. I can
tell you with 100% certainty that Brett Lauderdale is the GCW promoter, the Game Changer Wrestling promoter. Now, if he's saying that his experience was a positive experience with Nick Khan,
as soon as I search him up, GCW is the first thing that pops up.
Yeah. I could be thinking of somebody different for MLW, so that's why I said correct me if I'm wrong, because I could very well be. But yes, 100% I know GCW. How interesting would it be for GCW, Game Changer Wrestling, that is a world of hardcore professional wrestling, to be asked or even included in the WWE ID program?
Well, I think I did read recently that GCW has actually been included onto that list.
Oh, really?
Which now makes me kind of want to see Mance Warner come over and get a WWE ID now. Because I'm not a fan of big hardcore wrestling matches, but when it comes to Mance Warner, he makes hardcore wrestling make sense. If that, you know what I mean? But this is it's actually quite kind of nice to hear that Tony Khan, or Nick Khan, I should say, is Ron Khan. But it's nice to hear that we've got a CEO that actually is aware of everything else around him as far as wrestling goes in this world.
Mm-hmm.
So for him to show up at Bloodsport and meet with Brett Lauderdale, and I'm sure he met with Josh Barnett and everything like that, that to me tells me he's got a pulse on what's going on as far as the independent wrestling circuit goes.
Right. Well, I know GCW does a lot of work with Bloodsport, and we know that this was the first time that WWE allowed competitors to go to Bloodsport, so I can understand Nick Khan being there. So now we have to ask ourselves, is this a meeting of the minds? Do we see an overlap? And as we alluded to, I mean, with the WWE ID program, are we going to see these names coming up and potentially getting ID'd? We've seen it with CZW, with the first member of the ID program coming out of there.
True.
And let's not forget, not everything at GCW is hardcore wrestling. I mean, they do have... It is similar in vein to ECW. ECW's hardcore matches were more in the main event. Then your mid-card guys were like your Rey Mysterios, Chris Jericho, Dean Malenko. So GCW also gives you a mix of everything you want to see in wrestling, you know?
Right.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Yeah, like it gives that eclectic mix of, you know, the standard professional wrestling that everyone is kind of used to seeing on their television screens right now, to that hardcore professional wrestling as well. And you mentioned CZW as well. Like they are there's your hardcore. There's your old school kind of EC dub, even further than ECW type of professional wrestling. But I love this idea, and I think it's fantastic that Nick is going around, and even though he was like invited as a guest of Josh Barnett, I hope that doesn't stop. I hope that he actually continues to be that type of influence within the WWE as their president to go and check out these other organizations and companies that are around.
Yes.
Yeah. And as soon as you guys mentioned CZW, I was actually reminded of watching a Necro Butcher match where he actually didn't do hardcore moves. And I was actually blown away that the dude actually could wrestle.
Right?
Oh, yeah. Necro Butcher definitely can wrestle.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. There is something else that's a little go ahead.
I was gonna say, I was sitting there watching this match. I'm like, okay, when's Necro gonna bring out the good stuff? Because I was in the mood for hardcore.
Hey, Bobby, you know what? Like, that would be absolutely fantastic if
we would love it.
Khan decided to come up and check out a show with the Canadian Wrestling's Elites when they come running through. That would be fantastic, and hopefully it would be at a time where they are here in our city and they can actually come and have a little sit down chat with us as well as we go through and do commentary for the Canadian Wrestling's Elite shows.
A little bit of breaking news just came across my TV for a little bit of a programming note.
Okay.
If you are a fan of the game show Trivial Pursuit, stay tuned. This week they have Trick Williams appearing on the show.
Oh,
interesting. There you go.
Speaking of breaking news, this came across my phone just before the show. And Best, I know this is near and dear to you and me. Apparently, starting next year, 2K will be going back to the SmackDown versus Raw video game format.
Nope, they won't be. That was just a hoax.
Oh, that is disappointing.
No, it's not.
Because the 2K series is not that great. The controls are awful.
No, they're not. You just got to get used to it, dude.
I couldn't.
Try harder.
I tried.
Try harder, he says.
I tried with the first of the 2K games, and they were awful.
Okay, well, I'll be teaching you how to play the game tomorrow, because tomorrow we are doing WWE 2K24. The WCW DLC pack releases tomorrow. So we're going to be showcasing the wrestlers within that pack.
Yes.
Very, very cool. There you go. If you are a fan of video game content, you've got that tomorrow.
Yep.
Oh, yes. Something that's very cool as well, I think, for us. We talk a little bit of SmackDown versus Raw nostalgia. This is something that's a little nostalgia as well. The trailer for a new docuseries has been released. A docuseries called Call Me Ted will premiere on Max on November the 13th. Keith Clark is the writer and director. John Levin is the producer. Executive producers include John C. Malone, Brian L. Roberts, Charles F. Dolan, and S. Taylor